all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are creating this gorgeous Christmas present ornament for our Christmas tree. Don't you love it? I do. I do. Today what we are using for our beautiful ornament is a number 8 ply cotton or a number 3 in your country, or a DK weight, if that helps. This is a cotton blend. It's 50 cotton, 50 acrylic. Okay, it does call for a 4mm hook. Yours truly used the 3.5 because I wanted to give it that beautiful tight textured look. Okay, and I used also a 3mm hook for your little chains here and for the bow. Okay, now the stitches are single crochets, obviously chains, and single crochets. This one where the bow is actually a slip stitched bow, and it's the trickiest part is just making that spot right there. Okay, everything else is relatively easy. You will need your 2 hooks, like I said. You will need your scissors, you will need your darning needle. That naughty darning needle is not my friend. And you will need 2 stitch markers as well. You will need a combination of 2 colors, whichever colors you like. Now I used these 2 colors. They were leftovers from the Harry Styles top that we are creating here on the channel, and there it is. See, it's still not done, what I should say. It's in the process of being made. We are completing it very soon, but in the meantime, these are the 2 cottons we will be using. What else can I say about it? I did do some measurements, and that was just to measure the squares, really, and it's not important. You can make your gift, your present, as big as you like. If you wanted to get a quick knowledge about how big it really is, this is the size of my hand. I wanted to use a 4 ply for the purpose of the tutorial. I used the number 3 or the DK weight. However, I'm not going to make another small one. I'm going to leave this size for my Christmas tree because I love it. I just think it looks gorgeous. Yeah. All right, that's it, guys. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to let you get started creating your gorgeous Christmas tree ornament. Alrighty guys, we're going to firstly start off with a quick slip knot, grabbing your tail end, wrapping it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Grab your back loop, passing it halfway over your finger, hold it there. Grab the other loop, passing it all the way over, pop your hook in, give everything a little tug. Alright, now from here we are going to chain 13 for the pattern and 14 altogether for the pattern to work, and I'll explain that in a minute. But first we'll chain our 13, and a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now you're going to be working along these 13 stitches, but your first stitch on your hook doesn't really count, so we're going to add another one, which is 14. So that 14th stitch will not count. The next stitch, however, counts. You're going to pop your hook in that little loop right there. Pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, you just formed a single crochet. Grab your stitch marker and pop it in there like so. Alright. Now you're going to do single crochets all the way across. By the time you get to the end of your stitch there, you should have 13 single crochets. And now your next one will be going straight into that stitch there. You are already in this stitch, so you're going to go straight into that next stitch right there with a hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, into your next stitch. Exactly the same, all the way across your row. Okay, so let's just pick up speed a little bit until we get to the end of the row. I'm not going to pop this on fast, it's only 13 stitches. So this is a very basic pattern, guys. It's a repeat pattern, so it's a very basic pattern. The only difficulty will be just popping your bow on, and you've got to sew that on, and that's just, you know, fiddly. It's not really difficult. All right, there's our last stitch right there, and you can actually see it right there. It's a bit tight for me because yours truly, well, I crochet tightly. There's the little stitch right there. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, and do your normal single crochet. And you should have that tiny, tiny little knot sitting right there, okay? So let me show you how we count our stitches. These little tiny V's you have here, right, not counting the little loop sitting up here, just your V's, which is right there. They look like the letter V, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let me do it again, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, all right? So you should have 13 single crochets across, yes? And now, this is the repeat row. Before you start your row, you chain one, or is actually chain one at the end of the row, whichever you want to call it. Turn your work like that. Or you can also turn it that way. There is no right or wrong way of turning your work. Just remain consistent throughout your work, okay? So I'm going to turn it like I turn the page in a book. It reminds me to turn it that way all the time. Popping my hook in that very first stitch. And we can get a close up of that stitch right there. There. You can actually see it. If you give your work a bit of a tug, you can see that very first gap right there, okay? Hook in that stitch, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, grab your second stitch marker. All right, that's pretty much all you need in this tutorial, 2 stitch markers, one at the beginning and one at the end, and that's it. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to do a single crochet all the way across, and that is in these top stitches right there, you see. If it's closed, it looks like that. When it's open, you get that little gap. You've got your 2 loops on top and your gap on the bottom. That's the one you're going into right there. 2 loops on top, okay? And do your single crochet. Okay, very simple. That is the stitch throughout the whole of this tutorial. Seriously, that's it. All right, we've done one row before. This is our second row that we're doing. Okay, very, very quick and easy, this pattern. It's one of the basic Christmas patterns that we're going to do. There are others, but this is probably the easiest one, all right? Only because it's a 1 row repeat. And you're thinking, what, 1 row? Yep, 1 row. Second last stitch is right there. Can you see that? Right there. And your last stitch is the one with the stitch marker in it. Now, if you're anything like me, it might be too tight. It's not too bad. I think I can get my hook in there. Pop your hook in, and you can take out that stitch marker. It's only there so that you can find that stitch at the end of the row and just do your normal single crochet. Chain 1. Pull up a loop, and let me show you what we have. All right, so that's pretty much what you have. Make sure you count your stitches at the end of every row, which is 13 across, and you've done 2 rows. Your job is to now continue along the way and do another 11 rows. So altogether you should have 13 rows, okay? And then when you're finished with those 13 rows, meet me back here. We'll talk about measurement real quickly. We don't even have to worry about measurements, but just make sure your count stitch across is the same, all right? So go ahead, do 11 more rows, repeat that row over and over and over again until you get to your last row, and I will meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of our piece, and it should look very similar to that, making sure you still have your 13 single crochets across. Now I'm just going to play with some measurements. It's not necessary for yours to be this big or this small, but mine is roughly, it's just too far away. Mine is roughly around just on 7.5 centimetres. Oh, I'm on the wrong spot. There we go. Roughly just on 7 and just under 7.5 or 3 inches that way, and pretty much similar that way right there. It's a tiny little bit smaller in that way. Now it doesn't matter, okay? There's no right or wrong measurements. The box itself, or it's not really a box, the pack itself will be about that small, roughly around your hand. And it's going to hook up on your Christmas tree. So if it's a little bit smaller or a little bit larger, it doesn't matter. There's no right size. I just wanted to show you what mine made. And that was about it. Now I'm going to finish off our row, our last row, doing our final single crochet in that stitch right there. Oh, I forgot to take that stitch marker out. Let's take that out. So you've done your single crochet. Now your job for this piece only is to pull a loop through and give it a cut, right? And on your second piece, I didn't cut it because I'm going to use this piece in a minute. Your second piece, when you finish your last stitch, this is your first piece, for example. On your second piece, when you finish your last stitch, don't cast off. Leave that tail there. We've got a bit of yarn there. We're going to be putting it together using a single crochet row. So don't cast off on that second one, all right? Which means you now have to head off on your own and do square number 2. All right, so do your second square exactly the same way we just did this square here. And I shall meet you back here in a moment and we will put our square together. All right, head off on your own, do the square now, and I'll meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty guys, now what you should have is 2 pieces or 2 squares. One that's already been cut, the other one you still have the tail to. All right, now this is the way it started. We started here and here on this side, and both our rows ended up on the same side. Just pop your pieces like that, side by side, and your tails will both be on your left hand side if you did the same amount of rows I did, right? There's no right or wrong side to these pieces, but you want to keep them similar on the same side, on both sides. So when you close it up, open it up, face them to each other, and that is going to be your right side, because you're going to crochet along here, there, and there, leaving this space open to pop in a little bit of fluffy. Well, that's a lot of fluffy. Pop in some fluffy stuff, yeah? All right, so do that, and now grab your hook. Let's get a nice close-up. Pop your hook back into that stitch. Now, if you're worried about your piece moving around a little bit, just pop in your stitch markers on the corners if you like. I'm not going to bother. All right, so initially we are here. What I want you to do, remember we chained 1 at the end of the row, or we pulled up a loop, right? In this case, we chained 1. We're going to pop our hook back in that stitch, go to the opposite side of your piece, and pop your hook in the stitch, and that's the 2 loops on top, yeah? You're going to pull the thread through, just give it all a tug, and you're doing a normal single crochet. Now you're going to go in every space that you see. Your very next space is here because you're already in this one. So you're going to pop your hook in that space, go to the opposite side, you're in that space there, but you want to pop it in the next one and pop it in that space and do your single crochet. Making sure you tighten up this stitch. It's a little loose for me. I'm going to give it a bit of a tug. Tighten it up a bit. Doing your single crochet, yeah? Go straight into your very next. You see the spaces right there. They're the chain spaces you did at the end of each row. And right into the opposite with your single crochet. Okay? Space and space. Again, space and space. Again, space and... oh, it's hard to see that next space right there. Right there. Space and your next space right there. Space and your next space right there. Keep going until you get to the end of your row. I'm not going to pop this on fast, it's just this one side. Once you get this side done, we're already in that stitch. Let's go into, oh, it's a bit tricky now. Oh, it's really tricky. All right, here we go. One is tighter than the other by the looks of it. I'm crocheted very tightly in one. Oh, no. Oh, that went through easy. One there, one there. All right, so just do your last stitch there and pop your tail that way, out the way, and do that last stitch like that. It's a little fiddly, I know. Pop another single crochet in that last stitch, just so that you can turn your corner and then go into your next stitch and your next stitch along the bottom edge of your gift ornament. Gift ornament. Well, that's what it is. It's a present ornament or a gift ornament, whatever you want to call it. All right, so now we're just going to continue along the way in every stitch. And you can see the stitches here because this is the bottom row of our pieces. So you can see them and they should add up. If you've still got your 13 stitches along the way, they should all add up. Okay. Oh, nearly there, nearly there. Okay. Almost. All right, we got a second last one right there. All right, now your last one is that stitch. You can see it where your thread is. Pop your hook in there. Pop it in that very last. You're already in that one, so you're going to go right into there. Pull your loop through. Just grab that tail, pop it at the back for a minute, and single crochet. All right, do a second one in there, just so you can see the corner. And then what you're going to do, find your next space and your next space. And off you go, all right? So you know how to do this side. We did it on the other side. It's a little bit of a tricky side. You've got to make sure you get into every space on both sides. If you do mess it up, fudge it. Fudge it. Do you like that? Fudge it, you know, fix it so that it suits you, all right? So I'm going to pop this on fast because I'm really fiddling with the stitches here. And I will meet you at the end of this row. Let me bring that out a bit. And just continue popping your hook in the stitches. Off we go. All right, I'm at my second last stitch. Let me get you a close up so you can see. Or is it the last stitch? Let's have a look. Oh, that's the last stitch. Sorry, guys. Pop your hook in that last stitch. And in that last stitch on that side, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook as you've been doing all along, where ordinarily would pop a second one in. I actually will, even though we've already got that stitch there. Oh, no, I won't. I'll leave that because we're going to sew up across there when we put our stuffing in, all right? So just leave it, pull up a tail for me and have a look at your work. Have a look and make sure all the stitches are actually in. Okay, they might not look it, they look a bit bubbly, that's normal. You've got one side of your gift, you've got the other, and then you've got a little space in here where you can pop some fluff, which you're going to do right now. These ends, before you pop your fluff in, you're going to pop them in, all right? So grabbing your needle, your sewing darning needle, and just threading it. Hopefully it doesn't split like mine does. That's not too bad. All right, let's get a nice close-up. Now, all you need to do firstly is to literally pop your needle in a hole anywhere. Find a hole, pop it right through your piece, and just pull it through for now. Anywhere you like. All right, once you've pulled it through, turn your piece inside out. A lot of people don't do this. They just pop it in and leave it there. I like to weave mine in, because I haven't really done anything to it and I'm worried that it'll come undone. So just find a few stitches that you can go through. No right or wrong way of doing this. Yeah, just pop a few stitches in. Probably more likely better to do it on the edges there, just along the sides where you've stitched in. Pop it through. And you don't have to go through, you know, like 5 times like I usually do. 5 million times. Just a little bit, as long as it's tucked in enough. Give it a tug, turn it back through the other way, and that's your first thread done, and you can't see where it was. Now you need to do the same for the other thread, so let's just quickly do that. And if I say quickly, I mean let's just rush it. Do you like that? Let's rush it. All right, so once again, you're going to just pop your needle through a space. I think I'll go through there. Oh, I think I pinned myself. I do it in every tutorial. Oh, no blood, that's good. Oh, what? I've got no blood? Now you know, guys. I'm not human. All right, here we go. I'm so naughty. Here we go. We're going to weave in this way. Again, like I said, very quickly. It doesn't have to be like perfect in this sense because it's going to be tucked inside your piece. I'm not even going to do any more there because that's so tight. That's never coming undone. Never. Never say never. All right, here we go. Turn it back in the right way. And those are your bottom ends hidden, okay? You still have a tail up here. You're going to do exactly that. The same thing. You're going to hide that in. A lot of people don't. They just tuck it in and that's the end of that. Well, I'm a bit fussy. If you want to just tuck yours in, fine. Tuck it in. It's, you know, it's each to their own, but yours truly is a little bit of a stickler in this area, and I'm going to weave mine inside there. All right, there's your piece. We are going to single crochet over the top now, but before we do, grab your 10,000 kilograms of fluff. Really shouldn't be that much. This might even be too much. Let's put a little bit in there first. It doesn't need to be overpacked. Oh no, that wasn't enough. Here we go. Pop a little bit more. Doesn't need to be overpacked. You don't want it to look over full. I think that's plenty. Just give it a little squish in there. Pop it straight down the bottom like that. And there you go. It just has to be a little bit of a pack. Looks like it's a package. Like as if you're getting a cardigan or a jumper or a t-shirt as a gift and someone has wrapped it like that. All right. So that's it. All you need to do now, grab your little hook, pop it back up. Now remember before I said we weren't going to do that extra stitch in there? Well, we are now. All right. So let's get a nice close up. Pop your hook in that single crochet itself. It's more like we should slip stitch, but we're not going to, okay? Go to the opposite single crochet right there and do your single crochet. 1. Do it again. 2. Because we're forming the corner. Normally we would put 3 in the corners, but we wanted to turn a little bit to give it that Christmas present look, all right? But for the rest of the row, we are going to go in every stitch across the row. Oh, it's a bit fiddly, this part. I know, guys, because we've got the stuffing in there. And I'm finding my stitches are loosening up now. We don't want to make them too loose up the top. There's one side, and there is your other side. Remember, you're popping them through both loops. Being careful not to go into the same stitch. You're going into that stitch. Finding the opposite. You're already in there, so you want to go into that next stitch. Yep, and off you go. I'm going to pop this part on fast for you now. Alrighty, here we are at the end of the row, guys. I'm going to stop you here because these last couple of stitches are very fiddly. Now I have 2 stitches left here, which means I have 2 over there, but it's extremely fiddly. So pop your hook on one side and then go to the other, like so. Oh, let's try that again. Like so. I said it's extremely fiddly. We've got one more, one there, one in there, like so. And then you're just going to hop back into that last stitch, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop you are in, pull up your thread, giving your work a cut. I hope that wasn't too close, guys, and I wasn't out of frame. Giving your work a cut. Now what you're going to do, remember that sewing needle? This one's a lot easier. All you're doing is threading your needle for starters without splitting it like I just did. Did I split it or not? No, it looked like it, but it didn't. There we go. Let's move everything out the way. Very simple, this part here. You're just going to find, firstly, I would actually weave a little bit here, only because, again, yours truly, a little bit fiddly. Just weave it a little bit like that, just through a couple of threads. It's okay, you don't have to be too fussy. And pull it through the back of your work. Then you're just passing your needle inside your fluff, like so. Like that, all the way down, and that's it. Give your work a cut, like so. And just do that, and your thread hides inside your package. Now you just straighten up your package a little bit, and we're ready to pop our ribbon on. The ribbon will go across that way and across that way, and you'll have a little bow. Now you can either do yours up here, so your ribbon's up the top and your bow is there, or you can do it in the middle. You can do it wherever you want, but let's go ahead now and do our ribbon. Alrighty guys, grab yourself some contrast colour. We're going to chain on the double the same amount of stitches that we used. Okay, this is going to be the ribbon to go around your piece that way and around that way, and you're going to make 2 of these. So let's start off with the first one. We chained up 13 for our piece, so now we're going to chain up double that, which is 26. Now you're not adding an extra chain for this part, but just chain up 26 chains, grabbing your thread, wrapping it over your finger twice. Remember how we started before? And that's the way we're going to start now. Okay? All right, so now we're going to chain up our 26, all right? And a chain, as you know, yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times, all right? So go ahead and chain up your 26. I'll pop this on fast for you, and off we go. 6, 25, and 26. All right, and those are your little chains. Now, okay, with this part here, we need to close this up. This is why we're not adding the extra chain. We're going to close this up and make it into a circle. So what you need to do, see these little flat side that you're on, not the bubbled side with a little bubbled look, but the flat side. Run your fingers along that flat side. Grab your hook and pop it in that very first stitch that you made right there. Try not to move it around like I just did. You're going to do a slip stitch. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop you are in. That will keep your chains straight, okay, so they won't twist, so your work won't twist. You're going to chain 1, and in the same stitch you're going to put a single crochet. If you can get into the stitch right there, just in that same stitch with a single crochet, like so. Pop your tail end at the back for a minute, jump into the very next stitch with a single crochet. That's your second one. Before you go, just grab your stitch marker. Oh, naughty me, forgot to put it in after that first stitch. That's the one that we are in now, and that's the one right before it. Pop your stitch marker in, so you know where to pop your stitch at the end of the row, your slip stitch. And off we go, putting single crochets into every chain all the way across your row. Now you can round, I should say. You can pop it in the top loop, or you can pop it in 2 loops. It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing it consistently throughout the piece, it doesn't really matter. All right, so off we go. I'm going to pop this on fast for you, and let's get our stitches going. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of our round. I'm going to get a close-up for you for this part, making sure you're not missing out on any stitches. Alright, so this is where we are at the moment. I have 1 more stitch right there. Now remember, you need to have 26 single crochets across, so we're going to count those in a minute, but before we do, we're going to slip stitch right into the top of that single crochet, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop you are in. Just pull up a loop real quickly, taking out your stitch marker for now, and you should have that. All right, just grab your piece before you go anywhere. see if it fits over your piece. Well, you can, count your stitches or even just see if it fits over your piece. And it should fit over your piece just nicely like that. Not too tight and not too loose. You've still got plenty of room in there. If it's too tight and looks like that, you're going to have to make your stitches a little longer, all right? But that looks fine to me. And don't forget, guys, we're actually going to use this thread to attach it to our piece so it doesn't move around, okay? But in the meantime, that's perfect, and we're not doing another row. That's it. Seriously, that's it. Or you could have just counted your stitches, but I find it better to just measure it up like that. All right, now just with that little tail, give it a cut. Leave yourself a good sized tail. Doesn't have to be extra long, just long enough so that we can sew it to our piece later. But what I need you to do now is do a second piece. So go ahead and make one more of these, and then we'll join up again and attach them together and finish off with the bow. All right, make your second piece and I'll meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty guys, we're now going to grab our thread again, same colour, wrap it around our finger once and twice, holding it there. You've done this so many times already, pass it over, and once again. Now I used, for this part here, I'm using a 3mm hook. This is optional. It's not necessary, you can use a 3.5 if you like, but I'm changing to the 3, alright? And what we're going to do here is chain 45 chains. Give or take 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. It's not exact, but I'm going to do 45 chains. So chain 1, and you know how to do it. Once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5. All right, continue, get to your 45th chain, and we'll keep going. 6, 44, 45. Again, no right or wrong number, just a rough measurement, okay? Now we're going to slip stitch across in every stitch. So just go into your very first stitch, pull a loop through, and pull it through to the loop that you are in. No stitch marker required. Jump into your next stitch, pull a loop through, and pull it through to the loop that you are in. And so on, all the way across your row. Super duper easy. Little tricky because it's, with a smaller hook, but it is easy. It's just the same stitch over and over again. All right, so I'm just going to let you do that. Head off on your own, continue that, get to the end of your row, and I'll meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, where you will be is right here. It's a little tricky, but there is actually one more loop to go into. Pull your loop through and pull it through to the loop that you are in. Pull up a loop, alright? Giving your work a cut. That's it for your bow, alright? What I want you to do is actually weave these ends in, alright? So let's do just one end together, because we're not going to use these ends to sew to our piece, all right? Because this, where we sew, is right in the middle here somewhere, and to get the end over will take us forever, and it just won't look right, okay? So just weave this, so far away, get everything out the way, how's that? You can see better. And just weave it in through the back, anywhere you like, through the back of your work, okay? Right in, as far as you like, doesn't matter. You're weaving in one way. Now this is cotton, so me getting this needle through is really, oh, here we go, there we go, a little tight. All right, so hopefully yours isn't as tight as mine. Oh, pulled it too tight, haven't I? Let's just straighten it out a bit. There we go, straightened up a little bit. Doesn't need over weaving. Oh, that's so tight, that's never going to come undone, not ever. Give it a cut close to the edge there. Make sure you don't cut your work. Just give it a tug and it hides in there. So what I want you to do is to weave that end in there as well. All right, so you've got all your pieces, 1, 2, 3 pieces here, right there. And you've got your little piece here. Before we continue, we're going to grab our piece and we're going to find the middle somewhere. All right, it doesn't matter, be rough, it doesn't have to be perfect. So it's from the corner, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So just go 7 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that's roughly the middle, maybe 8 right there. Okay, take off about, I don't know, 2. Go back 2 and pop a stitch marker in there. Now go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pop a stitch marker in there. Just grab one of your pieces that you're going to pop over your piece. All right, and see where it goes. I would actually go back 1, so there. Go in 1, there, because later your red piece is going to almost cover it, but not. This is where we're going to do our little strap, so that little thing that you hang up on your Christmas tree. So you can either use the red or you can use the green. I think I'd like to use the green, but again, this is optional. Okay, so let me grab some color. Okay, so now you can take that little red thing off. All right, now I would actually do the chains in the 3mm hook as well. If you want to, you can use a 3.5, whatever suits you, but you pop it in that first stitch where your stitch marker is. Again, these are rough measurements. This doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. Okay, now pop your little thread through like so, and we are going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just check it. Is that going to be big enough to go on your tree? It won't be for mine, so I'm going to do a little bit more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to do another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so you've got your 20. Before you attach it, just pull up a little loop, grab a stitch marker and pop it in there so that you don't lose that stitch. Yeah, grab your red straps and pop it over your piece like so. Over that hook right there. All right, so you need to decide what side you want your ribbon to go. I would say it would be best on this side right here. So bringing your piece, making sure it's on straight. Mine's not on straight. Hello. Just bringing your piece where your tail ends are right in the middle of your work. Now again, there's no exact middle, just, you know, a rough idea at where you want it to go. You are now going to attach this here, then you're going to add your next piece there and attach that there. Okay, so it doesn't move around. And when it's all attached, we can slip stitch that into there. All right, so it's over your strap and it doesn't affect anything. All right, or you could have also done your little chains there on the corner. Again, optional. Put your chains wherever you like. I like it here. I think the contrast color makes it look cute, so I'm going to leave it there. In the meantime, what we need to do is attach our little piece. I'm going to show you how to do one piece. I'll do the longer one because that looks like it's going to take me forever to fix up. And you're going to attach the next one. So grabbing your sewing, darning, weaving needle, thread it. All right, and just where your little thread is, pop it through. Make sure you are in the center where you want to be, and we pretty much are because we counted there. Yeah, we kind of counted there. Okay, and just grab your piece, and all you're doing is getting a little bit of thread underneath. Oh, let's get a close up so you can see that. You're just getting a little bit of thread under there of the green. Now the only thing that this is doing is it's going to stop your strap from moving around too much, and it shouldn't really move because it'll be inside your work. Okay, so you've popped it in there, and then all you're going to do is I can get that strap out the way there, pop it through your piece, yeah, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Pop it through another stitch again, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Now no one's going to see this because your bow is going to be on it, and then just doing exactly the same on the other side. Grabbing some green there. Whoops, I've just put it through my work there, don't do that. And pull it through your green. All right, and again, all that's doing is keeping it in place so it doesn't move around. Don't pull this too tight, all right? Don't pull it too tight. And then in there, you're just going to just find some pieces where you can weave in and out. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Hello. Oh, that's better. Nope. That's better. There. And I think you can see my work. So it doesn't really matter. Again, your bow's going to be under it. Pop it back through. And I tell you what we should do now. Oh, I don't know what happened there. There we go. And just pop it in somewhere through your piece like so. And that will not come out. You've already weaved it through a little bit. That's not going to come out. Oh, cut it properly, Mary. Hello. All right. So just pop that there, and that's that one. Right. Now you're going to weave that one in, preferably up the top and over, just moving everything over there. And again, don't worry if that shows, your bow is going to be right on top of it. So that's not going to show. Alrighty guys, I thought I might just show you this part here as well. But it can look a little bit tricky, this bit, because you are attaching both pieces now. Okay, there's one bit. You're going into the red and the green. Oh, am I not even close enough? Let's do this again. All right, so what you're doing is you're going in through the red and the green like that with this bit. Now I've moved it down a bit just so that I can do this part, but we'll lift it up in a minute. Okay, so there, that's what you're doing with this piece. Now again, you can pop it further up if you liked. I just like mine in the middle. I just think it looked better like this. Again, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. Play with it. Just have a look which way you like it. All right, now we're going to go back into the bottom of that red, the one underneath, and your red on top. Okay, that's why I thought I'd better show you. I wasn't sure if you kind of worked that out yourself, but anyway. And the same with one more piece. As close as you can get to the green, because this is where the bow's going to go, so it'll cover it all up and you won't see any of the stitching at all. I mean, you see a little bit of it now, and I'm fighting with it. Look, I'm really fighting with it. What? Okay, so we're going to go back up through the red. Right, and back down through another area. Again, where the bow's going to go, no one's going to see it. I've got it stuck. Here we go. Needles, like I said, needles in the past, I've said this and I'll say it again. Needles and I, we're just not best friends. We're going to go straight through to the other side, making sure we're not going through our work. Don't need to do that, because this is just hiding the tail now. Give it a cut. And just fiddle with it so the tail hides inside. Do the same with that one. And once that's done, I want you to go back to this piece here. In fact, we'll do this now. All right, lift up your little stitch here. Take your stitch marker out. Pop your hook back in. Mine's fiddly because I've already cut my piece. See that little stitch marker right there? You are going to slip stitch into that stitch marker, like so. That was my nail, by the way, guys. It just bent a little bit, as you do. And slip stitch through to the piece that you are in. And I've just split the yarn. Don't do that. And then just pull a loop through like that. Take out your stitch marker. And there's your little piece there. Now I want you to weave that end in there. I will show you one. Grab one of your tails I'll just grab the more difficult one. That looks a little bit more difficult. Well, they're both the same. They're both difficult. All right, so that's where we are. Yes, you want to get rid of that knot. So I would work through the back. Again, doesn't really matter. Maybe go through one stitch first. Pop your hook. Let's try needle in that stitch there and pull that loop right down. Yep. Then at the back, you're going to weave in and out of a few ends here first. Move your red. Oh, I'm in the wrong, not even in frame. Move your red. Let's try that again. We're here. Yeah. You're going to weave through that end in the back there. Move your red. Don't do it through your red. There. Just one more time. Through the other way, different area of course. Find some stitches that you want to get through, like so. And then all you're doing is hiding your tail inside your little fluff and fluff, or whatever you want to call that stuff in there. Poly fluff, polyfill, whatever, it doesn't matter. Give it a cut. Don't pull it too tight until after you cut it. There you go. Now, give it a tug. You need to weave that end in exactly the same. All right. So weave that end in the same, weave that end in the same, and then join me in a moment to attach our bow. Alrighty guys, this is what you should have so far. Simply gorgeous so far. Now you should have your little tiny bow here, and grab yourself a needle with some thread. This is probably too much, but grab it, quite a bit, because you're going to be wrapping it around this part now. A little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. So let's just move everything out of the way. I'll just get a close up of this part because it's a little tricky. First thing you do is you make a little loop like that. Make that a little bit smaller. You want your tail to be long and your loop to be a little bit small. Not too small, yeah? Just grab the other one, and all you're doing with this one is, let me get that straight, is just passing it over that one you just did. So you've got like a little look like that. All right, and just straighten up your little ends. Should all match up. It should be gorgeous. There's your piece. Now there's many ways you can do this. Okay, you could put the bow up the top, you could put it there, you can pop it down the bottom. Down the bottom's a bit silly, but I'm going to pop mine right in the center. Now doing this part means I have to crochet. Let's try sew. I have to sew around the whole piece, so being careful not to sew around the bottom bit as well. All right, you just want to sew around the top. So grabbing your needle, and if you like, you can actually stitch through here first. If you're a bit worried about, I'm just going to pop a thread through. If you're a bit worried about that coming loose, pop through some thicknesses there, because that can come loose when you're working. Leave that loose tail there. I'm going to weave that in later. Pop it through again. It's just to keep it in place while you are working. Now just being wary where your thread is coming out of. Remember, we haven't put any knots in this, so that's, well, you don't want to knot because you're going to weave that in later. All right, so that's almost ready. I'm going to pop it through again, just in a different section. And then one more time through the bottom, just to keep it in place until we are ready to attach it. Now it's not going to move. It doesn't look perfect, yeah? We're going to crochet, let's try sew, I did it again, around the piece to make it look like it's been knotted, all right? So grabbing this little piece, your needle, and just going in, hang on, where are we? Yep, go in the top and just pass it through some of your thicknesses there, making sure you're not going through here, just the top layer of your work. So pass it through and just pull it through a little bit. Don't worry about this end, we'll weave that end in later, bringing your piece right up. And you want to adjust it, going around your piece. Just pop it through there for now. All right, that was a bit fiddly, sorry guys, but that's what you want to do. You want it to be able to come right around your piece like so and give it a tug. All right. Move it in the middle there. And then, oops, don't throw it away. And then, since you know what you're doing, you're going to do exactly that again. You're going to come around this way, in through the bottom, and keep going around. Making sure you're not going through the whole piece and you're only going through the top bit. And you'll see it'll start to close up. It does look a little bit weird now, but it will sort itself out. All right, coming back around again, it starts to look better. Keep coming out of frame. Sorry guys, let's just adjust that a bit there. Hopefully your needle's not as bad as mine. Can you start to see that look now? Yes. And again, you are coming back through again. Try now to center it. So when you come back around again, it will fill up this little gap here. Yes. Now before, when I said to you your bow's going to cover anything you see there, and it certainly does. All right. There you go. Now I'm going to do one more. I'm a little bit pedantic. I'm going to go a bit further over here this time. Just adjust it to suit you, and oh, it's really thick. It's really thick under there. All right, once you are happy with yours, I think that's plenty. I'm going to just weave a little bit at the back, right in here. Just go through some thicknesses in there. Yeah, like that. That wasn't very good thicknesses, but it's something. And I'm going to go back again the other way. In another part, more thicknesses. And then we're going to pop this through the piece. In fact, you're probably better off just weaving it into the thicknesses, I think. And then you can weave that other end in exactly the same way I just did this piece here. Oh, hopefully that's not pulled through there. There you go. And I've just made a mess. Let's cut that piece now. And I just pulled some thread out of the other one too, because I pulled it real tight. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! There you go, guys. It's all done. Finished, finished, finished. Oh, not yet. You still have to weave that last end in. Let's pretend like we did. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons and 10 a.m. Saturday morning Melbourne, Australia time. We have a lot of fun. Plus, we also have the Wow Wheel, and the Wow Wheel you can win lots of little goodies with as well. All right, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and do all the wonderful things that you guys, well, pretty much already do for me. And all I want to say right now is, Happy Christmas to you all. Ciao for now.